Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in, everyone, to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. Today we're going to be going over our Week 14 starts and sits for the rest of the games this weekend. Obviously, the Lions won on Thursday Night Football. We'll get into that here shortly, but to go over some injury news about who's in and who's out. Marvin Harrison is out this week again with that heel from last week where he left the game. They put Greg Dortch on IR this week, and it was announced that Kyler Murray will not return this season. So he's probably done in Arizona, more than likely going to be at a new place next year. Alvin Kamara ruled out again with the knee and ankle. Rome Odunze, this was a little more surprising. Rome Odunze has been ruled out with a stress fracture in his foot. Guess he's been playing with this for a while. Kind of explains his lack of production if this is the case. Probably should have been out a couple weeks already to get healthy, but he's definitely going to miss. Make some of those other receivers there in Chicago a little more valuable. Drake London's still out. No change in his situation yet. Jaden Reed for the Packers is returning this week. They took him off IR. He will play tomorrow versus the Bears. Amarian Hampton for the Chargers will also return this week from IR. So the Kamani Vidal excitement of full-time starter is officially over. Make adjustments on your fantasy rosters. Justin Herbert is expected to play on Monday Night Football versus the Eagles. We talked about this in the video the other night. He had surgery on his broken hand on Monday. It's his non-throwing hand. I assume he'll have some kind of brace/cast on there, but he's still got to be able to hold the football. But he is expected to play on Monday Night Football, so that's good news. You're getting that announcement now for fantasy. Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders quarterback, will return this week from injury and will play on Sunday. Good news for the fantasy owners that have held out, and I'm one of them. Hopefully he comes out and starts scoring those 40-point days because I need some right now. Julian Love and Jerron Reed, defensive players, linebacker and defensive tackle, for return from IR for Seattle this week. So just a couple other players getting back from IR and will help that Seattle defense out, which has already been performing really well this year. As far as the Thursday Night Football, Lions beat the Cowboys 44-30. Love to see that from my Lions. They moved to 8-5. Cowboys fall to 6-1. A couple things to note from this game. JAHMYR GIBBS, still really good, damn good player. Has 3 touchdowns. He was a Lions offense. Montgomery got a touchdown. Goff missed Tesla on a couple other touchdowns, but he did get him one. And Amon-Ra ended up playing. The guy's got adamantium ankles. He's Wolverine. He just healed so quickly last year. Or was 2 years ago he played with the steel plate in his cleat. I mentioned the other day. This guy just plays. He's tough as nails, man. I love having him on the Lions. On the other side, George Pickens loafing a little bit out there. He's been criticized since the game was over. There was plays he was taking off. CeeDee Lamb left this game with a concussion, but not before scoring some fantasy points for you. He had like 6 for 121, I think it was. And on the Lions side, Brian Branch has a torn Achilles. He left the game later in the game, second half, and will be out for the rest of the season and probably the start of 2026. Bad news for the Lions. Hopefully they can get Kirby Joseph back. But they moved Avonte Maddox, who was a corner, to safety. And I believe he had played some there before with Philly, just kind of moving around in positions. But definitely something they're going to have to adjust to. There's still a couple free agents out there. Justin Simmons could maybe get signed. Who knows? Maybe he's done. I'm not sure. But they definitely need to make a move at that safety position in my mind. Other than that, guys, let's get any starts and sits. First game of the week, Dolphins 5-7 take on the Jets 3-9. Got a lot of in-division games this week, which is awesome because they're always a little more competitive usually. But Jets come off their third win last week. Starts for this game. On the Dolphins side, I'm starting Tua, I'm starting A-Chain, I'm starting Waddle. Flex players for the Dolphins, definitely Darren Waller, the kicker Patterson, and maybe even the defense, honestly. You could probably flex the defense this week. They've been playing well for a handful of weeks. Had a down game in the middle of a stretch, but they played well for like 4 or 5 weeks there before their bye. On the Jets side, starts Breece Hall, and that's all that really I can recommend is hey, you got to start them. The Jets defense I would start, honestly, between their return game and they got another turnover last week, which is great for them because I think that was only their second of the season. So definitely could be coming in bunches here coming up and possibly rolling a dice. Still got some teams. This is the last week of bye week, so maybe you need a filler. Maybe the Jets are that team. But flex players for the Jets, I'm willing to flex Mason Taylor, Adonai Mitchell, Mechie in the deepest of leagues where you got a fourth receiver, you got 4 or 5 flex spots or something like that. But I'm not forcing him into a third receiver spot. And definitely the kicker, Nick Folk. He's actually a full-time starter for me, if you ask me. Tyrod Taylor, I think you can take a chance on him if you need a second quarterback. He came out and had a 20-point day last week in my home league with our scoring. 6-point passing touchdowns, but a little bit more difficult on the yards and stuff. But he came out, had a 20-point day. Maybe he can do that again versus the Dolphins. The Jets definitely looked more functional last week, and the Dolphins' defense hasn't been top tier. It's just been playing tougher. And they could definitely get a turnover, but Tyrod Taylor could still have a 15-point day for you. Sits for this game on both sides. Dolphins, I'm not playing Ollie Gordon this game as much as I like the guy. He could probably get involved. He could steal a touchdown, but I don't want to bet on that. Malik Washington, I don't want to start him. He does return yards, so that kind of helps if your league gives return yardage, but other than that, I'm not really interested. On the Jets side, not playing Isaiah Davis this week. I have to in one of my leagues because I've had all my running backs either injured or on bye this week, but I'm not happy about it. I don't feel confident in it. I'm hoping he gets a kick return touchdown or something and helps out the Jets defense and myself. But just not a lot of players other than that to talk about on either of these teams. It's pretty secluded in where their opportunities are. So moving to this next game, the Steelers 6-6 coming off a loss, take on the Ravens 6-6 coming off a loss. This is going to probably be for the division, if you want me to be honest. Lamar Jackson missed some practice this week. He's dealing with a toe injury. We talked about his inaccuracies last week, but still should have had 2 touchdowns if likely doesn't throw the ball out the back of the end zone. And the pass interference for Zay Flowers isn't called. So, but if it was a 5th, you know the rest of that. On the Baltimore side, Derrick Henry and probably just Tyler Loop, honestly. Maybe the Baltimore D, but I think they're more of like a secondary option, a lower end option this week. And it's not like they've been stopping everybody. They just played better since they got some of those players back. On the Steelers side, I'm starting Jaylen Warren. I'm starting nobody else unless I have to. That's just the way I feel about it. Flex players, Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers is number 2 QB in a deep league if you need him. Not real happy about having to start him, but it is a bye week. He might be out there on your waivers, or you might have him as your third quarterback. I got to believe he's going to at least get 1 touchdown, maybe 2, but this could be a lower scoring affair, and it's more of a yardage game for him. Just not happy about having to start him if you have to. Freiermuth is still the tight end in my mind out of the 3 guys there. If you need to flex a tight end, he's a guy you could use. And then Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, Gainwell's been playing well. Didn't have a big day last week, but he's been involved a lot more lately over the last few weeks. And against Baltimore, he definitely could catch some passes and maybe even catch another touchdown like he's been doing. On the Baltimore side, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, I'm still willing to flex those guys. Andrews just got paid, so we know he's going to be there for at least a couple more years. I keep telling you, he's Lamar's best friend. He continues to score points while everybody was down on him. I don't know why. But Lamar Jackson is a flex player this week. He's more of a super flex QB. In a 2 QB league, I'm still going to start Lamar Jackson unless I have one league where I have Stafford and Goff. I decided to play both of them this week. And I'm still not sure I'm going to start Lamar over Stafford, and that's just being honest because Lamar's Lamar. But Lamar's also dealing with a toe injury, and he's missing practice, and I'm worried sick about his ability to make it through the game right now with his toe. We saw Burrow missed a whole half a season with the toe, so you never know how guys are going to deal with the injury, deal with the pain, deal with the severity of the injury. Can they re-injure it, make it worse? That's always a concern. I'm not saying that, I think Lamar's going to get hurt tomorrow. I'm saying that it's definitely affecting him right now. So I got him as a number 2 in a super flex. Other players, like I said, Tyler Loop, Baltimore's defense, sits for this game. I don't want to play Keaton Mitchell. I don't want to play any of the other receivers from Baltimore. No Hopkins, no Bateman. This, like I said, is going to be a lower scoring game. On the Steelers side, I don't want Jonnu Smith. No thanks for Darnell Washington. No Calvin Austin, and no Adam Thielen, even though he just got picked up off the waivers there by the Steelers. So next game, Saints 2-10 versus the Bucks 7-5. Tyler Shuck playing better. Do I think they're going to win this game? Probably not. The Bucks, I thought they had a chance to get Mike Evans back this week. I was really excited about it, but him and McMillan will probably have to wait another week. Who knows? Maybe 2 weeks. They still got a couple weeks. So, but starts for this game, Baker Mayfield, Emeka Egbuka. I'm still starting them guys. I know he's had some down weeks lately. He's been a little banged up. attention's obviously been paid to him after the way he started, but I'm still starting Igbokwe every week in like a 3-wide receiver league. So Bucky Irving, definitely starting him. And then Chase McLaughlin, go ahead and get him in your lineup if you need a kicker. On the other side, I'm going to go with Devin Neal. I think you can start, no problem, as a bottom end number 2, high end number 3 guy. So maybe he's a flex for some leagues. He's a starter for others. Just how many slots you got. But Devin Neal is probably like the 23rd best fantasy running back this week. Maybe finishes as the 15th or 14th. If he gets a touchdown, even better. But he's definitely involved, and definitely a guy I can see being involved this week. Tyler Shuck, if you need him in a 2 QB league, he's more of a flex to me, but I think he's playing well enough. And the Bucs defense can be beat in the pass game. So, but Chris Olave, definitely starting him. And Juwan Johnson, I'm still flexing him every week if I can as a number 2 tight end or a low-end number 1 tight end if you're, depending on how deep your league is. If you're one of them 16-team leagues, Juwan Johnson should be starting for you in a deep league. But at the end of the day, flex players for the Bucs, Cade Otton, I think you can still flex him with Evans not being back. And Chris Godwin, I'm still willing to flex him. I'm not saying you got to start him full-time. Definitely performed better last week than he did the first couple of weeks back from injury. But it's more about what do you have and what do you need. If you got 3 wide receiver slots, then fine, yes, start him. If you have 2 and a flex, then he's a flex guy. That's how I feel about him. So the Bucs defense, I think you could flex this week because they're probably going to get a turnover. I like Shuck a lot, I feel, but he's still learning. He's still growing. He's still getting more game time. Missed a lot of time in college. Definitely a guy that still needs more game reps more than anything. But he's got the talent, and I'm excited to see how this finishes out down the season. If the Saints upset the Bucs, am I going to be super shocked? No. But I would be more shocked. It's probably because like Baker played bad. And the Saints defense got a turnover, a kick return touchdown type of thing. So we'll see what happens in the game. But sits for this game, not interested in – I guess another flex guy before I say that is Devon Vele. He's been involved the last few weeks, and he is definitely a target that Chuck is looking for. Had a touchdown last week. You can flex him if you need him as a third receiver. That's how I look at it. Sits for this game, though, not interested. I'm done with your Taysom Hill. I've tried to roll the dice with you a couple different times this season. It's just not happening. So done with Taysom Hill. He'll probably score 3 times this week and piss me off. But Taysom Hill is a sit. Saints defense. Man, yeah, I would sit the Saints defense this week. The Bucs offense can put points up. So that's all there is to it. And then the other running backs, Rachaad White and not Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving's a start. Rachaad White and Sean Tucker are guys I'm not willing to play this week. Rachaad White's a desperation play. Sean Tucker, no chance I would put him in a lineup unless like everybody on your roster is on IR. That's about the only way I'd do that. So I'd be looking elsewhere. Chase what's his name? McLaughlin there in Denver would be a better option than him. So, and then Saints kicker. Oh shit! No, wait, take it back. A flex guy, Charlie Smith with a wide. Don't you forget it. Definitely get him in there if you need a kicker this week for somebody on a bye. He came out and nailed both of his field goals, his extra points, and got an onside kick. That's a kid with some talent that apparently should have been on a roster already. Now, maybe he comes out and proves why he wasn't this week, but he's definitely worth a chance of rolling the dice after that starting performance last week. Next game, Colts 8-4 take on the Jags 8-4. This is for the division lead. Colts lost again last week. Jags won. Definitely a game that's going to matter. The Colts will be beating the pass, especially with Sauce Gardner going to be out for a few weeks now. Starts for this game. I'm starting Trevor Lawrence, and this will be the first time he's a full-time starter for me, but I just think he's going to have a good week this week. I think with Brian Thomas being back, Jacoby Myers being there, Parker Washington has a chance to play. Not 100% he's going to, but he got a limited practice in this week. So he definitely has a chance to play. If I'm Jacksonville, I'd probably hold him out knowing I have Myers. I have Brenton Strange back. I have Brian Thomas back. He could wait a week and make sure he's healthy for going into the playoffs. But this is also for the division lead. It's a big game, so I could definitely see him getting out there. Check your inactive list an hour and a half before the game. That's my advice for you. But starts for this game, though, Brian Thomas Jr., I'm starting him. Trevor Lawrence, I'm starting him. Travis Etienne, I'm starting him. On the Colts side, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, and Michael Pittman. Flex players, Daniel Jones, even with that fractured fibula, hairline fracture in his fibula, I'm still flexing him in as a number 2 QB right now. It's just baking in the risk that at any moment he could leave the game. It's kind of like the Lamar thing where it's if you already have an existing injury, it's not going to feel any better if you hurt it again. So definitely going to be always baked in for the rest of the season. He'll probably be as a number 2 QB and he'll just stay there for the rest of the season for me with that injury. But he's still playing well enough to get you points, still playing well enough, especially with 4 teams on a bye, that you should be putting him in a super flex starting spot. Another flex player for them is Alec Pierce for the Colts. On the Jag side, flex players, Jacoby Myers, Cam Little, the big leg, and Brenton Strange should all be in your lineup. Honestly, both of these defenses could be flexed, but if I can sit them both, I'd be much happier just because I think both of these teams are going to put up some points this week. They're going to have to win to take over the division lead and to win this game. Both teams can score. Both teams will need to score. So the defenses I'm a little down on, but definitely a game I could see going either way, a low-scoring affair, but I think it's more than likely to be a high-scoring affair, and the defenses are more likely to sit. Definite sits for this game, though. On the Colts side, I'm sitting Josh Downs. I'm sitting any of the other tight ends, and just not much else there that you're looking for. And Ben Grupe, the kicker, who I expect to be promoted to start for them this week after being signed after the Saints cut him and brought up Charlie Smith to be their starter now. Ben Grupe sounds like he's going to be the kicker for the Colts. You got to prove to me that you can make it because you were kicking it in a dome for the Saints, so I can't expect much different results. You're kicking in a dome for the Colts. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens, but I'm not putting him in my lineup this week. And then on the Jags side, hell, honestly, you need to flex Bayshall too. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention him in the flex players as well. Flex Bayshall too. The rest of the situations there in Jacksonville, none of the other tight ends, none of the other receivers, I think are worthy of a start, even a flex. And then, like I said, if I can start Jags defense or sit the Jags defense, I will. Next game, Titans 1-11 take on the Browns 3-9. What a battle! Obviously, the Browns defense has been playing incredible. Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Browns right now. Nothing really super impressive from him yet. Not affecting the fantasy games. It's really Judkins in the defense. A little Harold Phantom sprinkled in. So my starts for them are definitely Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fanning because they're involved every week, and the Browns defense. Rest of these guys we'll get into. On the other side for the Titans, it's hard to say that you have to start anybody from this team. But as far as flex players go, Cam Ward, you can flex as a number 2. He's been playing better as of late and getting more comfortable with his options, getting more comfortable in the game. Now, against the Browns, man, it's tough. You got to be desperate to start Cam Ward. I'm sorry. That just is. Against this Browns defense, it's going to be really hard for him. One of the things he's best at is his maneuvering around in the pocket. Not seen a lot of it this year because of all the sacks, but trust me, he should have been sacked more. And he was excellent at it in college. He's going to need every ounce of it here versus Cleveland's defensive line and Myles Garrett, who's trying to break the sack record. So if you don't have flex Cam Ward, don't. That's how I look at it. Players I think you can flex, Gunnar Helm, Chimere Dickey, and Tajay Spears. If I can sit Tony Pollard, I will, but teams on a bye, injuries, all that good stuff. If you need to flex Tony Pollard, you can. On the other side for the Browns, it's hard to say flex anybody, man, else, honestly. This is one of the least fantasy output games I'm expecting on the week. The Titans defense have been tough against the run as of late. The Cleveland Browns defense, we know how good they are. It's their offenses. So sits for this game. A.O. Maynor, I would sit Cam Ward if I can, but like I said, bye weeks, deep leagues, all that stuff. This is more of a if I have to, I think you will get at least like a 10 or 12 out of them, but you're not getting no 25-point day from Cam Ward. A.O. Maynor definitely a sit, though. Chika Okonkwo will sit. The kicker there, Joey Slye, just don't think he's going to get a lot of opportunities this game, so sit him. On the Brown side, Shedeur Sanders, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman. I don't want to get any of those guys in my lineup. Dylan Sampson is out probably this week. I'm waiting for an official announcement. I didn't see it yet, but it might already came out that he's definitely out. But Dylan Sampson probably not going to play this week, so Jerome Ford becomes a little more interesting as a desperation throw, but I would sit him if I can. Next game, Commanders 3-9 versus the Vikings 4-8. Commanders get Jaden Daniels back. Vikings get J.J. McCarthy back. I think one side is going to benefit a little more from their guy coming back and probably going to win this game handily. Vikings have been having a rough go of it, especially the quarterback situation. Justin Jefferson's situation for fantasy has been a nightmare. Hopefully J.J. will just force feed him the ball. That's what we're really hoping for. Just throw it to him. Who cares? Just every time. Because that's what it's going to take based off the accuracy of some of these guys they got playing out there. Why I wasn't big on J.J. McCarthy, man, is just we hadn't seen enough. He hasn't convinced me that he can make it in the league, and I still feel that way right now. He's got about 5 games to change that mindset because after that, I think the Vikings could even be moving on. Definitely something to watch, though. Starts with this game. Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and Chris Rodriguez, and the Washington defense. Got to start. Flex players for Washington. The kicker there, I think you'd be fine getting him in the game if you need a kicker because of bye weeks. No problem there. He'll have opportunities and definitely some extra points. On the Vikings side, Aaron Jones is questionable coming into the game. So if he's out, then Jordan Mason's a definite start. Other than that, there's Justin Jefferson. I start every week. That's just how I feel about it. I know this isn't for everybody. If you're in a shallow league, you only got 2 receivers, then maybe sit Justin Jefferson this week. But that's at your own peril. That's how I feel about it. At any moment, Justin Jefferson can go 9 for 140 and 3. He's just that good. That's how bad the QB play is for Minnesota right now. That they can't get the best receiver in the NFL the damn ball is pretty sad. So I understand his frustration, why he didn't talk to the media and last week after the game. But I'm still starting Justin Jefferson because at any moment he can be Justin Jefferson. Flex players for this game. If Aaron Jones plays, he's a flex player for me, no problem. And I think Jordan Mason might be a flex player even if Aaron Jones plays just because of the limited opportunities for Jones. And Mason probably be more involved, just kind of take the weight off of him from getting hurt again or something. Other than that, I don't want anybody from the Vikings side. You could sit McCarthy, you could sit Hockenson, you could sit Naylor, any of those other guys I'm out on. The Minnesota defense, I don't even want to start them because I think they're going to be put in bad positions this week due to the quarterback play for Minnesota. On the Minnesota side, though, or on the Commander side, Zach Ertz, a 10 for 107 day. I'm not expecting that, but I think he's still a flexible player. And that's about it. I mean, Washington defense, like I said, get him in your lineup. Sits for this game, though. I'm not starting Noah Brown. It's his first game back. I'm not even recommending flexing him or anything, and none of the other running backs. JCM clearly didn't have it. McNichols isn't involved enough. So you can sit both of those guys. Shouldn't even be on your rosters, honestly. Next game, Seahawks 9-3 take on the Falcons 4-8. The Falcons, what a disappointing season. Penix is on IR now, obviously for a few weeks. Kirk Cousins has been playing. Starts for this game. Bijan obviously is a start, and that's about all I would do from Atlanta. Now, obviously, there's flex players we can roll with, but the definite stars are Bijan Robinson. I think Seattle's defense, especially getting those players back, is going to help them, and not really willing to throw a lot of Falcons out there. Pitts even missed some practice this week, so I'm not even super excited about him if he's going to be banged up. On Seahawks side, you're starting JSN. I know you had a bad week last week. Oh, one bad week out of 13 weeks. I don't think you should hold it against him. Put him back in your lineups. Sam Darnold, still starting him. Kenneth Walker, still starting him. Seahawks defense, absolutely. Absolutely, I'm starting him. And then Jason Myers, the kicker there, I'm always starting. So flex players, I think you could flex. AJ Barner's still there, the tight end there in Seattle. I don't really want to get involved in the rest of these receivers. I know Rashid Shaheed played a little bit better. Cooper Kupp played a little, just not enough production more than anything. So those are both probably sits for me. Charbonnet, I think you could flex this week. He'll probably steal a touchdown again. And then on the Falcons side, I'd flex Kyle Pitts, flex Darnell Mooney, flex Tyler Algier, flex Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is fine number 2 this week. Not saying he's going to have a big week, but bye weeks, injuries, whatever else you're dealing with, Kirk Cousins is a viable replacement this week. Sits for this game, like I said, Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, I don't want either of them, Noah Arroyo. And then on the Falcons side, I guess you could flex Zane Gonzalez, the kicker that they signed. He's been doing well since he got there. But Atlanta's defense, I think you should sit him. Seattle's been able to put up points. Atlanta's defense has its flaws, has its ups and downs. That's for damn sure. And this could be more of a down game for them. So sit the Falcons defense this week. And then none of the other receivers. I'm not interested in them. Next game, Bengals 4-8 take on the Bills 8-4. Bills just signed Brandon Cooks and Shaq Lawson this week. Or was it this week? No, last week. And so they're probably more than likely going to be out there a little bit more this week. Starting Josh Allen, no doubt about it. Starting James Cook, no doubt about it. If Kincaid plays, you starting him. But last week was an hour and a half before game time. He got ruled out. That inactive list comes out. You got to pay attention to those. It's real easy, man. Just check before an hour before the game. That team, inactive list. That's all you got to look up. It'll pop up. No problem for you. They'll tell you who's out this week, or put the weekend, week 14 this week. So something to definitely check, because I had a buddy in my home league, didn't see Kincaid was out, and none of us were going to help him. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I didn't even see it, but I know some other people did, and they didn't ask it. They didn't send any text that I know of. But at the end of the day, you got to be paying attention to that, because it could be the difference between a win and a loss, or a championship, or sitting in the consolation bowl. So pay attention, guys. Hour and a half before the game, the inactive list come out. Starts for the Bengals, obviously Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is active and ready to play out of concussion protocol, so he will be playing. And Chase Brown, got to start him. McPherson's more of a flex guy to me. He had a huge week last week, but what if it turns into touchdowns this week? And now he's just getting extra points. So he's always going to be that. You could start McPherson every week. It's a good offense. That's why I tell you, you want kickers on good offenses, because you're getting opportunities anytime they're in field goal range. Even if they get a sack at the 20, you still get to kick a field goal. Or if they throw a touchdown, you still get an extra point. It's just adding up points over the course of the game. You know how this goes. On the Bills side, flex players, definitely Khalil Shakir. If Kincaid doesn't play, Keon Coleman is a flexible player. Had a good week last week after a couple weeks off due to disciplinary reasons. He came back last week, had a touchdown, so definitely somebody you can flex if you need to. Not recommending it, but it's definitely something you can do. And then the Bills kicker, Matt Prater, and that's probably about it. I'll probably sit the Bills defense this week against this Bengals defense. I'm definitely sitting the Bengals defense. No Samaje P. Ryan, even if he does play, I'm not starting him. None of the tight ends this week. With Higgins and Chase there, the tight ends usually don't get involved as much. So no Mike Gesicki, no Andre Josephus, no Tinsley, the other receiver that did good last week. With Higgins and Chase there, and Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, that's your starters. And the kicker. That's all you need from Cincinnati. From Buffalo, it's Josh Allen, Kincaid if he plays, James Cook, Khalil Shakir, and Coleman if Kincaid doesn't play. So other than that, guys, next game, 4 p.m. games we get into now. We got the Broncos taking on the Raiders. Broncos are 10-2. Raiders are 2-10. Obviously, opposite ends of the spectrum. Starts for this game, Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, and R.J. Harvey. Definite starts. The Denver's defense, yes. On the other side, Ashton Genty, I'm still starting. That's just all there is to it. It's fantasy. We're trying to score points, so we don't care if the Raiders win or lose. And Brock Bowers, superstar tight end, Brock Bowers, starting both of them. Flex players, definitely could still flex Troy Franklin, I think. Evan Ingram had a good day last week and could be more involved this week. Who knows what's going to happen with this? That's just all there is to it, man. It's the Broncos offense. Rashad Payton does what he does. But if you need a tight end this week because somebody's off or somebody's injured, Evan Ingram is always a worthy flex player. For the Raiders flex players, honestly, I'm not even willing to flex Trey Tucker. Geno Smith, if you need a second quarterback this week with buys, it's a risky play, but we've seen Geno be good. We've seen Geno be terrible. It's a roll of the dice, man. So if you need a number 2, Geno is always a chance he puts up 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's also a chance he puts up 98 yards and 2 interceptions. So at your own peril, as they say. Sits for this game, Raiders defense, Trey Tucker. I don't want to start him. I don't want to start any of the Raiders wide receivers this week, especially against this defense. No thanks to Raheem Mostert. And Dan Carlson, I don't even think you should get him in your lineup. On the Broncos side, I don't want to start McLaughlin, even though I think he'll get some opportunities this week. It's just not enough for fantasy. We got other better options. But like I said, if it comes down to him or somebody like a Sean Tucker, then I'm going to put McLaughlin in. The kicker there, Will Lutz, you can flex him, no problem. But rest of the Broncos options, just not really interested in. The Bears versus the Packers. Bears are 9-3, number 1 seed in the conference after the Rams lost last week to Carolina. They take on the Packers, who are 8-3-1, right behind them. This could be for the division lead because if the Packers win, they take over the division lead. If the Bears win, they probably won the division with this game. So it's a huge game. Jaden Reed coming back, like we talked about for the Packers. That's going to help chances of winning. Starts for this game, DeAndre Swift. With Rome Odunze out, we got a little changes to some of these starts too. DJ Moore is going to be a start this week. Rome Odunze is a start. Rome Odunze out means DJ Moore is that much more valuable. So DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, and Caleb Williams, go ahead and get in your starting lineups. On the other side, Jordan Love, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs. Those are your 3 starts for that side. Flex players, Luther Burden, got to get in the flex. Colston Loveland, get in the flex. Kyle Monangai, flex him because he's been involved enough for the last few weeks that they've said, hey, we're going with the 1-2 punch, and it's not going to be just DeAndre Swift and a couple carries from Monange. Monange is part of the offense now, so you can continue to flex him. On the Packers side, I think you can flex Jaden Reed. I think you can definitely give him a chance out there and see what happens. Even though it's his first week back, I usually like to, give him a week, see how he plays, make sure he's looking healthy and everything. But Jaden Reed is such a weapon that he's going to be involved if he's back, and it's going to give the Packers an opportunity to win this game. And in the Packers defense, I think you could flex them this week. Caleb Williams, don't need to give up a couple sacks, possibly have a turnover, even though he's been playing well. This is a big game. It's going to be like 16 degrees at game time or something like that. Going to be a cold one. Going to be a little stiff out there. Sits for the game, though. Not willing to start any other of the Bears pass catchers, Cole Kmet, none of those guys. Like I said, Adunze is out. Zacchaeus is a dart, though, and he would have been a sneaky start if I did sneaky starts this week, but I just didn't do him. But definitely somebody I'm not willing to throw in a lineup if I don't have to. On the Packers side, rest of the pass catchers, none of the tight ends, none of the wide receivers, not a Jaden Reed is back. Romeo Doubs, I think you should probably sit this week. I just feel like this with Jaden Reed back, it's going to hurt his opportunities more than anyone else's. He's a middle of the field, shorter route guy, so is Jaden Reed. And Jaden Reed's just a better athlete. He's just a better weapon. And then the kicker, McManus, don't want to start him. You can start Cairo Santos for the Bears if he plays, but I'm not starting McManus for the Packers, not after the way this season is gone. Rams 9-3 take on the Cardinals 6-6. Cardinals, like we talked about, Trey Benson. That was the one thing I forgot to mention in the injury news. With Marvin Harrison being out this week with a heel, Greg Dortch going IR, Kyler Murray won't return this season. It's been announced and Brissett's the starter this year. Good chance he might end up being a starter next year. I don't know if Cardinals fans will be happy about that, but the way he's played, he's deserved it, at least an opportunity next year to compete. But Trey Benson has not came off of IR yet. I thought the deadline was Saturday, but because of the day they put it on to him, they actually have till Wednesday to where either he comes on the roster or he reverts to IR for the rest of the season and cannot come back. That decision will come by Wednesday, but he's out this week. I think more than likely he's not going to make it back based off all the information that you're reading and seeing and things you're hearing. Starts for this game. Rams, Stafford, Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams a little banged up, but I'm still starting Kyron Williams and Devontae Adams, the touchdown machine. And the Rams defense most definitely this week. On the Arizona side, I'm still starting Brissett because they don't have to win the game for Brissett to do good in fantasy, even if it's garbage time. The garbage man can. That's what they say. Michael Wilson, definitely getting in your lineup along with Trey McBride. Flex players for the game, Bam Knight with Benson not back yet. Connor, obviously out for the season. DeMercado a little banged up still, probably not playing. Bam Knight's the running back there, so he's worthy flex. The kicker, Chad Ryland, you can flex him. On the Rams side, it's probably only Colby Parkinson. He's the tight end that's been doing the most damage. And Harrison Mevis, the kicker, the thicker kicker, I would go ahead and flex him if you need a kicker this week. Sits for the game, though, Terrence Ferguson, the rest of the Rams receivers. I don't want anything to do with the rest of them. As long as Adams and Puka are healthy, nobody else matters. No Atwells, no Whittingtons, nothing like that. And then you can probably flex Blake Corum. I should have said that. You can flex Blake Corum this week because with Kyron Williams a little banged up, they've already said they're going to try to ease the load and have him healthy for the playoffs. That means Blake Corum and him are going to be splitting more of the opportunities. Blake Corum becomes a definite flex down the stretch of the season. On the other side, Cardinals, you can flex Bam Knight, like I said, flex Chad Ryland, but sits for the game. I'm not playing any of the other receivers. I'm counting on Michael Wilson and Trey McBride to be the offense. If somebody else goes off, great, but there's not a chance in hell of guessing which one it is. More than likely, nobody else is going to go off, especially with Greg Dortch out. Him going IR just took the other option away that I felt comfortable with recommending. And then Michael Carter, I don't want to start him. I don't want to flex him unless you're in a desperate mood. Like I said, it's between him and Isaiah Davis in my one league, and I'm starting Isaiah Davis. That's how confident I feel in Michael Carter, if that tells you anything. So on to our Sunday night football game. The Texans 7-5 take on the Chiefs, who are 6-6. Huge loss last week and probably hurt their chances of making the playoffs, especially the way Denver and the Chargers are playing. Chiefs going to be desperate, going to be trying to fight for a game. The Texans, they got that win over the Colts last week and are going to be looking to continue to try to fight for the division. They know they got to win down the stretch. This should be a really damn good game between two really good teams. Not always the most potent offenses, but tough defenses and good physical football that you're going to see between this game. Starts for the game, though, Nico Collins, Woody Marks. I think you're comfortable starting both of them because Woody Marks, even though he got banged up last week, he will be involved as a pass catcher. He is a starter. They've basically confirmed that over the last few weeks, and he will be the starter going forward. And then the Houston defense, I think you're good to start them. Yes, the Chiefs are going to score some points, but it's probably going to be a lower scoring game. It's probably going to be a 16-13 type game between these two teams. On the other side, start Pat Mahomes, start Rashee Rice, start Travis Kelce. Flex players, Harrison Butker, KC defense, and probably Kareem Hunt. Yeah, you can go ahead and flex Kareem Hunt, but it's just going to be tough going. But if there is a punch-in touchdown, it's going to be Kareem Hunt. Chiefs usually get one of those a game. So I'm going to roll with the dice and say Kareem Hunt gets another one this week. On the other side, flex plays for them, Jaden Higgins, CJ Stroud. Did not play great last week. You need more from him against a tough defense. You're not expecting it, but it's a big game, and I think he's going to get up enough for it. You can have him as a number 2 quarterback this week. And then Dalton Schultz, you can always do that because Dalton Schultz is a solid tight end. He will be involved anytime they're passing a lot, and that just makes him more valuable in a game that they're going to have to. Chiefs are good against the run. That's why I expect Woody Marks points to come more via the pass. Sits for the game, though, Jalen Noel, Christian Kirk. None of those guys I'm willing to stick out there. No Xavier Hutchinson's. And Nick Chubb, sit him. I don't think he's going to do anything this week. I don't know if he'll be involved enough even. On the other side, sit Pacheco, sit Hollywood Brown, sit Xavier Worthy. He is not doing it. I called his touchdown last week, but this is not a game I'm expecting one from him. Monday Night Football, the Eagles 8-4 take on the Chargers 8-4. Chargers get Hampton back from IR. Herbert is expected to play. Still missing those tackles, though, and that's going to be a rough go against the tough Eagles defensive front. Granted, they just got beat up by the Bears a couple weeks ago. I expect them to play much more like they did last week against this offensive line. Good chance the Eagles win this game. Starts for the game, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. He's back in the starter category the way he's been playing, which will probably jinx him. They'll have a 2 for 13 day, but I'm putting him back in that starting lineup, and Saquon Barkley because, granted, he ain't been Saquon Barkley. He's still Saquon Barkley. On the other side, I'm starting Justin Herbert if he plays. That's all there is to it. Ladd McConkey, yes. Amari Hampton, he's back. I think he's more of a flex player this week, honestly, as a third running back type of player, just because they're probably still going to have Vidal involved, but it's not enough to start Vidal is the problem. But so I'm going with Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, Cameron Dicker as my only full-time starters. Flex players, like I said, Amari Hampton, he's going to be the main guy. Vidal will still be involved, though, in my expectations. So that dampens the hype about his return this week. They're going to give him a week, maybe 2, for him splitting carries with Vidal because they want him for the playoffs. They don't want him to go back on IR. Keenan Allen, I think he's going to be involved a lot this week, so go ahead and flex him. Rondé Gadsden, Eagles are tough against the tight end, man. So I think he's more of a sit this week. But in a 2 tight end league or a deep league where you got a lot of flex spots, Rondé Gadsden's still worthy of a shot. The Chargers defense, I would flex them. And then on the Eagles side, Devontae Smith, flexing him, yes. Like I said, he's a low end number 2, high end number 3. He's a guy that can go off for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns any day of the week. He's been involved enough to still make him worthy of a flex player. So, and then Dallas Goedert, with the way A.J. Brown's been playing, it's kind of hurting Goddard's possibility, so he's moved into the flex category. Sits for them, though, Jahan Dotson, Tank Bigsby. I don't want any of those, the secondary guys. It's mainly those main guys that you want, and that's all there is to it. And the Phillies defense, you can flex. Is obviously you can get them in the starting lineup because, like I said, with both of the tackles out for the season for the Chargers, the defensive line could have a field day against this offensive line, and that's going to make it tough going. On the Chargers side, sit Quentin Johnson this week. Don't think Herbert's going to have the time to get deep downfield. Like I said, I think it's more of a Keenan Allen type of game. And Kamani Vidal, sit him. I know I don't want to say that because of how well he's played. I believe they're still going to have him involved, but I think it's going to be more Hampton than it is Vidal this week. So sit him. Other than that, guys, good luck to you this week. Hope you're having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching. Until next time, I'm out. First down punts!